addictions that people just kind of think, oh, it's just somebody likes a lot of coffee, somebody likes a lot of chocolate, there's sex addicts, there's shopaholics. They're all various forms of addictions that we don't necessarily take too seriously. And it's when that addiction then becomes into something a lot more serious that's when people's perceptions change. Think that people turn to drugs or alcohol. And they tend to, there seems to be a sort of a two-way street in their mindset. It can be that people think that it's either young people out on the street or it's celebrities and the rich and famous that turn to drugs or alcohol. And the reality is so different. It can happen to anyone. There's thousands of people in Wales turn to drugs and alcohol every day as a means of coping, as a means of just getting over some form of pain. Very, very serious illness, and it was life-threatening. And she was put on so much medication for pain relief that it quickly became an addiction. And when that wasn't satisfying her for a pain relief, she turned to other substances. And this became to the point where it almost killed her. And she basically, her family had given up. There was very little hope she felt for her. But this lady has now gone through support and gone through treatment and is now back living a perfectly normal life and has written a book about her own experiences. Russell Brand, 12 Years Clean, probably the most well-known drug addict in our time. And he says himself, without support, without structured support, there's very little help for people with substance misuse. There are so many reasons for people turning to drugs and alcohol. Those are just a few, but it's usually because it's down to pain or suffering or a tragedy. It's a way of people coping with something that's going on in their lives, something that's happened to them, or it could be, like I said, it could be sort of a pain relief issue that has manifested into something bigger. In the course of my career, I've met a number of people that have literally told stories that have broken my heart. And some so inspiring because they've come out the other side that it's my attitude towards alcohol and substances has just changed incredibly. One lady in particular that I was very fortunate to meet. She grew up in a domestic abuse environment, and knowing no different, she married into a domestic abuse environment. Very quickly had children. And there was a cyclical pattern to what was happening in her day-to-day life. Her husband, when he was going out to work, she knew that if he didn't come home straight away from work, he would inevitably go to a pub. When he came home from the pub, it was usually around 11 o'clock at night. That's when the abuse would start. So she put the children to bed, and then from the time the children went to bed till he came home, she would drink as much alcohol as she could to numb the pain of the physical and mental abuse that she was experiencing. It was a crutch, and it helped her, except when that then became an addiction. This lady had one experience, far too many, and her husband came home one evening, and the abuse was about to start, and she picked up her butter knife and threatened him with it. He called the police and she was thrown in jail. Thankfully for her, it was very short-lived, and it was a stepping point for her where she decided this is the time I need to do something, and she went into a refuge. Since then, that lady has literally changed her life. She is now public speaking, she's doing fantastically well. But would you say that that was something that she got herself into? That was a crutch. It was something that she needed to do to be able to get one foot in front of the other, and that it's safe. It was tried, it's tested, it must be okay. Whereas the reality, again, is very, very different. In fact, it's very different. There's been a number of substances, these legal highs that have caused deaths already. That really is quite scary. And then with alcohol, there is a huge unmet need for alcohol issues. Many people turn to alcohol again for some very, very different reasons, but alcohol, again, is socially acceptable, it's affordable, most people do it, but it can very, very quickly become an addiction. Now, NewLinkWales, we're not we don't preach that you can't drink or you can't do drugs. We're not abstinence-based. It's all about education and harm reduction, prevention. It's about giving people the knowledge that they need to make an informed decision about what you're doing. And if you are drinking alcohol, then make sure you're doing it in a safe environment, and just be aware of the amounts of alcohol that you're drinking, because it's very easy to slip into patterns that can then become a problem.
So, are you getting out to the schools?
We give people opportunities to change their lives, and we're all about recovery. Recovery is possible for everyone, and the results that we have show that people can recover from the lowest points in their lives, and they can improve and get better. That then has a bearing, obviously, on their families, their friends, their colleagues, and our communities. So it's an improvement all round. The way we work with people in NewLinkWales, as I said, is quite different. A big strand of what we do is volunteering, and that is, as we said earlier, about finding people who, when they've made that decision to make changes to their drug and alcohol use, whether it is complete abstinence or whether it's cutting back and going through treatment in their recovery, there's usually a big gap left behind in where the drugs and alcohol are taking place. And people can feel quite isolated. They can end up feeling that they don't want to go out because they don't want to fear the danger of relapse. So our different volunteering roles that we have offer those the ability to sort of close that gap, give something to focus on. So one of our programs, which is called New Steps, works with people who are in various stages of their treatment, and it enables them to go and work outdoors, whether it's someone like St Fagans or an allotment, working within crafts and arts, and it just enables them to focus on different things to the gap that was there before previously. Volunteers who have had no history of drug or alcohol misuse, and we can train these volunteers up to work in other agencies, so they can be working in hostels, they can be working in other drug environments, so media exchanges and places like that. And that's because somebody would like to just give something back. We have our MILE programme, which is the first of its kind in Wales, which is absolutely fantastic, and it's an opportunity for people who are solid in their recovery, who will to get back into the workplace and want to give something back after being a client of services, want to use their experience to help others. So they have a period of training, and it's all about work, things that you need to get back into work. And then once they're all qualified, there's a certificate at the end of it, they're able to use that then and help and mentor other people who are still going through various stages of their recovery.